Hey, One Express over here, and today I'm doing my opinionated spy weapon tier list. So I know this has definitely been done before. Everyone's done a tier list at some point in their life, whether it's, your first grade and you're tier listing your favorite foods, or if you're in college and you're tier listing your favorite professors. All that matters is, this is my opinion, on spy weapons. So, yeah, let's go. So, first up we have the Ambassador. So, I'd say before pre-Jungle Inferno, this would definitely be like a B or A tier. I mean, it's never been a full S tier in my opinion, but the ability to crit on headshots is pretty good. But I just don't have godlike aim, so I'm putting this probably at a C tier because I just think it's only really useful if you have really good aim. And I mean, why use the Ambassador when you can use multiple other options on this list? Up next, we got the Big Earner. So, the Big Earner is one of those weapons where so many people, just don't like it, but it's because they don't really know how to use it. And I actually like the weapon. The speed that you get off after a backstab can be really useful for chain stabs. And when you chain stab 3 people, 4 or 5 at a time, you see why this weapon's useful. So I'm probably going to put this at a B tier because it's not, of course, not an A tier because you'll see what's an A tier later. But I think B tier is probably right for it. It's not entirely crap, but I think it's I think it's decent. I think it's a good option to use. Now we have the Cloak and Dagger. So when I was a new TF2 player, and all I did was play on 2 Fort, I would put this as an S tier. However, that's a long time ago, and I've learned to play other maps besides CTF2 Fort, CTF Turbine, and I've used different things. I'm gonna put this at D tier because you can't pick up ammo packs that goes to your invis while cloaked, and it's just too limiting. I don't want to stay in a corner for 20 seconds waiting for my cloak to recharge. And plus, if you've been walking around for a while and a pyro meets you, then what? I mean, you're out of cloak. Even if you have the spice sickle, you won't be able to get away since he can see where you're going. So I just think it's way too limiting, and it's a D tier. Next we have the Knife's Kunai. So this weapon has a really great upside of just being able to just give you health on a successful backstab. And I think that's a utility that comes in a whole lot more often than a lot of these weapons provide. However, you start off the gates with 70 health, which is very limiting. So it really relies on you getting that first stab. You often see this being paired with the Dead Ringer, since it kind of gives you a get out of jail free card. But I'm gonna go ahead and put this at a B tier with a Big Earner. Again, this is my opinion. I'm sure I'm about to get crucified in the comments, but it's just not an S tier in my opinion. 70 health starting off is not good. And once you do get a backstab, you do have like 180 some health. But, you're still going to get W1'd if Pyro sees you. So, it really depends on if you're really good with your cloak management, and if you're really good at getting away. So, I'm putting that at a B tier with the Big Earner. Up next, we have the Dead Ringer. So, this thing, again, pre-Jungle Inferno, I would put up at A tier. However, nerfs, and you can't refill it with ammo packs. I have to, it's just not good. If you use it right, being able to feign your death's amazing, but everyone's aware of that. Oftentimes when you die as spy, people keep checking. It's like disguise checking or like spy checking. If you die, they're still going to check around because they've been pre-exposed to Dead Ringer before. So I just don't think it's useful. Plus, you can't cloak on demand, which I think is, the point of Invis Watch. So I'm putting this at a C tier with the Ambassador because I just don't see that much of a use for it. Up next, we have the Diamondback. So this weapon gives you crits for doing things a spy should do with, I think it's a firing speed penalty and I think a damage penalty, This is a very, very, very good weapon. And the crits are, at any range. So you could be at a super far range and 102 someone. And that's something the Ambassador can't do because at a certain range it kind of stops. So this weapon, I think, has to go in the S tier because, it's the Frontier Justice, but for spy, and they can't see the crit coming. If Valve ever decides to, do something in their life and outdate the game, this will probably get nerfed. It'll probably get nerfed to like a C or a B tier. Knowing Valve, will probably get nerfed to the ground and probably an F tier in a couple years. But for now, it's an S tier. Plus, it allows you to disguise. Yeah. That's my favorite thing about the spy class. Just the ability to disguise is just really good. Up next, we have the Enforcer. So, this thing's upside is you can, I think, I'll find it, but you do a damage bonus while disguised. And I've heard, like, it's bugged sometimes, so you don't even get the damage bonus for a slower firing speed. So, that doesn't sound too bad, but when you use it, it's a whole lot worse than it really is. But it's not terrible. That upside does come into play. Killing Razorback snipers are really funny with this thing. Because Razor snipers, forget Spy has a gun. So, use this against them, it'll definitely trigger them. But it's just not useful in literally any other situation. So, like, why use this when you can use the Ambassador or the Dimeback? So I'm putting this at a D tier. It's still useful, but, it's too situational for me. Up next, we have the stock Invis Watch. So, this weapon, is just good. S tier. All the way. Because, you can fill up ammo, to your Invis, and you just be invisible and just go around, and you're still mobile, unlike the Cloak and Dagger, and you can still be invisible, unlike the Cloak and Dagger, unlike the Dead Ringer. So, easy S tier. Alright, stock knife. So this one I had a hard time with, because the stock knife is really good. There's no downside. It's stock, so there's no downside to it. But like compared to other options, I don't know. I'll probably just put it at S tier, just to be, with the whole stock spy S tier thing. But it's a low S tier, okay? Like it's teetering on the edge, because the bicycle's pretty close to it in my opinion. But I think it's an S tier. Up next, we have the Electron J, or whatever you call it. This weapon provides a great utility for a damage penalty. It's still good for picking off low health classes, which, it's great. I think this weapon's pretty solid. That extra cloak, as you probably come to expect, I love being able to, cloak when I want to, and move when I want to, and that pairs perfectly with the stock Invis. And you can even boost your Dead Ringer, since they removed the ability to add cloak to it with ammo packs. You can take a couple pot shots at a enemy and have your Dead Ringer back. It pairs well with a lot of things, maybe not the Cloak and Dagger. But again, I don't like the Cloak and Dagger anyway, so it's not really an issue for me. I'm going to put this at an A tier, because I think it's really good. But again, it's not the Dimeback where you can just get crits for nothing. Up next, we have the best weapon in TF2, the Red Tape Recorder. If you go into a server rocking the Red Tape Recorder, people will fear you. People will know that you're the best spy out there. People will fear you. People will automatically leave, because they don't want nothing to do with you. Enemy NGs will wet their pants. Sorry. No. Nothing needed to justify that answer. It's an F tier. Yeah, Gunslinger NGs, sure, and Suicide Plays on CTF2 for it. That's too situational, okay? Like, no, why just not use the stock Sapper? The thing can use a buff. In fact, if you really want to go at it, anything below C tier on this tier list, I think should use a buff. That's my opinion. Now I got the stock revolver. So, this is really good. But I'm having a hard time believing it's better than Dimeback. Because, again, Dimeback's really good and kind of busted. Because, crits out of nowhere for sapping a free-to-play dispenser. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense there. But it still does a lot of damage, which can be really helpful. So I will put this at an S tier, thinking about it. So that completes, we got stock Sapper up next, so we'll see where that goes. But it's a really good weapon. Up next, we have the stock Sapper. So this thing, of course, if you've, not been on TF2 before, which I don't know why you're watching this video if you're not, destroys buildings. Pair this with any revolver and, shoot it, the sentry while you sap it, the sentry will go down really fast, and NGs will have a hard time trying to stop you. As long as there's not 5 sentries around. If there's 1 sentry around, you can sap a building and shoot it with a gun. Any gun will really work. I wish the Enforcer would work because I think it has pierce effect to it, but it doesn't work against sapper armor for one's injuries. So that kind of sucks. It'd been really great if the Enforcer had that. It'd definitely be a B tier, because it'd be great to pair with the sapper, but it doesn't. So I mean, sapper S tier. I mean, you really got no other option, and it's really good. I mean, you can destroy engineers' buildings, and MVM you can stop robots. So yeah, pretty good. Alright, so now we have the Bicycle. So I use the Bicycle a lot. I have a strange one, and I think I have like 3,000 kills on it. And I've not been playing the game for a crazy amount of time. I started playing in early 2020, and keep in mind that it is currently January of 2021. I've almost played a full year of TF2, but I've also played a lot of Spy in that time. So I think this Bicycle is a really good weapon, and I use it with the Lockchon J and stock Invis. I don't think it's stock level, because again, if you do get flamed by a pyro, you're missing your knife. Plus, and this is something the kunai and the big earner does well. If you, let's say, are around the enemy team, and there's a heavy medic combo, if you get flamed spy check once, right when you're at the back of the medic, congratulations, you can't stab him, and now you either have to go run and hide, or hopefully the medic and heavy don't turn around and you can gun down the pyro. It's not going to happen. So it would be S tier, but it's just A tier, because if you do get flamed by a pyro, I mean, you have to wait 15 seconds. So, I mean, it's just not... It's situational, but it's a situation that comes a lot of times, and sometimes that whole, protection against pyros thing comes in handy a lot. That's why I use it. But I mean, it's a good weapon still, but sometimes it can be a nuisance. Up next, we have the Your Eternal Reward. So this has perfect synergy with the red tape recorder. Do you know how? If you immediately go on a server, people will vote kick you for being trash at the game and having very poor taste. It goes great. It has an item bonus of instantly getting kicked. Like, it's a great weapon. The cloak drain rate on this thing is a nuisance. It truly is. Like, why use this? I mean, yeah, the instant disguise is cool, but you don't think people spy check you anyway. So what's the point? Like, why would you do that? It's just gonna get you killed. Plus with that cloak drain rate, even with like the Dead Ringer. I know it used to have a set, I think it still does with the Lockchon J, but it just doesn't work with that cloak drain rate. It's not good. Of course, that's my opinion. I'm sure there's people out there who have a professional strange one out there with 20,000 kills on it who, worships it. But in just my opinion, it just doesn't work. Anyway, that was my opinionated Spy TF2 weapon tier list. I'll probably do more of these because this was actually really fun to do. And I'm going to do it based on how many hours I have in each class. So I think up next will either be Soldier or Demo. And then I think it'll be Scout. So those will be interesting to do. Tell me if you liked the video. And I'll see you next time.